campaign to pardon Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin? The former Minneapolis police officer convicted in the death of George Floyd has gained some traction among conservative figures, including Ben Shapiro. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, let's watch it. It's a hot topic. People are going to get big mad about this one.
If we are issuing pardons, however, there is one person that President Trump should pardon from federal charges forthwith. It would be incredibly controversial, but I think that it's absolutely necessary. That person is Derek Chauvin. President Trump should, in fact, pardon Derek Chauvin. He should. He should pardon him his federal charges. If we are talking about reversing the evils of the last several years in American life, obviously COVID and its handling was a massive evil. Destroyed the economy, set us on a path to fiscal insanity, destroyed children, led to massive health-related cover-ups, just horrifying all the way around. And President Trump has taken on a lot of those things. But when it came to BLM, the inciting event for the BLM riots that caused $2 billion in property damage in the United States.
Only $2 billion? I'm actually shocked. Yeah, I'm genuinely shocked. Like, I thought it was way more.
And set America's race relations on their worst footing in my lifetime.
That's true. That's true. The George Floyd case was really bad, and I think that it did set race relations back a whole amount of times, right? A massive amount of times.
Was, in fact, the railroading of Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd. The evidence demonstrates that Derek Chauvin did not, in fact, commit murder of George Floyd. George Floyd was high on fentanyl. He had a significant pre-existing heart condition. George Floyd was saying he could not breathe before he was even out of the car. He was in the car saying he could not breathe. Derek Chauvin.
Then why'd you take him out of the car, put your knee on his neck?
Large segments of...
If he say he can't breathe... So if the guy can't breathe, he's obviously not a threat. So why are you putting your knee on his neck? I mean, it's one, because like, you ever had somebody choking you, something like that happen? You can't do shit. Because oxygen is what makes you able to move around and shit. So you don't have oxygen, you can't do shit.
Even the tape that was shown had his knee on George Floyd's shoulder or back, not on his neck. The autopsy of George Floyd showed...
No, I was putting pressure on his midsection. Like, I'm going to be real. I completely disagree with this. And after this video, I'm going to bring up some receipts for, like, other reasons why I completely disagree with this. I think Derek Chauvin's a piece of shit. And I'll prove it after this video. You're wrong? Okay, you're going to find out. A lot of people don't know this. It's okay. It's fine. A lot of people don't know this. They might not understand it. We're going to look at it. Brainwashed? So is George Floyd. I think George Floyd was a piece of shit. He's sitting there on fentanyl. He put a loaded gun to a pregnant woman. He's an absolute piece of fucking shit. 100%. But that does not give the police justification to kill him. That's not the way it works. What do you think this is? Hassan's stream? That's not the way it works. You got to go through the justice system.
That he had no damage to his trachea. That probably George Floyd died of excited delirium. There were no accusations, even at trial, that Derek Chauvin had committed a hate crime against George Floyd, or that he targeted George Floyd because of his race.
That's a separate issue. Also, a person's trachea is not the only element that you can put stress on. And just because there's not visible damage doesn't mean that there's not duress and an increase of heart rate and blood pressure when this event is occurring. You're not a doctor? Well, neither is Ben Shapiro, but he's sitting here talking about this too. So, like, I guess this kind of cancels it out. So he's not a doctor, I'm not a doctor, you're not a doctor, nobody's a doctor, so what are we doing? His wife's a doctor? Well, she's not doing the video.
Extraordinarily scanty evidence. And despite the fact that there was massive pressure on the jury, that the mayor of Minneapolis paid a settlement to the George Floyd family immediately, that the President of the United States.
The reason why the mayor paid the settlement will be made evident at the end of this video. Actually, fuck it. I'll just do it right now. Derek Chauvin had fucking 18 other complaints filed against him before George Floyd even happened. And it's already documented in multiple other fucking cases. Use of force incidents. Several complaints involved allegations of excessive force. A notable case from September 2017 involved Chauvin responding to a domestic complaint where he's accusing a 14-year-old black boy in the head with a flashlight requiring stitches, then kneeling on the boy's back for 17 minutes. Demeaning derogatory behavior. Other known incidents. And let's see if there's any more of these. Allegedly identified 6 arrests between 2015 and 2019 where Chauvin allegedly used excessive force, such as restraining individuals by their necks or kneeling on them, though not all of these were admitted as evidence for his murder trial. This guy did tons of this shit. It's not like this is it's not like this is some innocent, normal, good cop that just for some reason got, caught on the bad end of the stick. No, this is a person, he would have done this to your fucking grandma. He would have done this to your kid. He had 18 complaints against him. The reason why they gave the settlement immediately is because they knew about the complaints. They knew that they had kept this guy on the force, knowing that he had done this in the past, and he was doing it again, and they knew they would lose a lawsuit for it because of these other complaints. First-degree murder, though, the charge is not relevant to me. I think he should be in jail. If you want to put him in jail for manslaughter instead, that's fine. That's not a big point of contention with me. I'm not debating that. I'm not arguing that. I'm saying that this person is a career bad actor. Police officer. It is disciplinary. Only 2 resulted in formal discipline. 2 closed with discipline, internal affairs. Each of these cases, Chauvin received a letter of reprimand. The remaining 16 complaints were closed without any disciplinary action taken, meaning no further consequences were documented for the public record. That's the reason why people were pissed off, and they didn't even know it. The thing is about this guy, I hate the martyrdom of Derek Chauvin. This is a bad actor police officer who had a history of bad behavior, who did something that he shouldn't have done. He's been a piece of shit for literal years before this, and I think conservatives are farming fucking L's by defending somebody who is a career bad actor cop. What the fuck are you doing? You want people to trust the police? How the fuck are they going to trust the police when there's 18 complaints and only 2 of them resulted in disciplinary action, and he's still on the fucking force? This is the problem. That's the whole problem. And you're going to act like this guy's a fucking martyr? It's an embarrassment. There's 15 actual legitimate people. Like, why are we talking about this but not Snowden? So I talk about Edward Snowden, not Derek fucking Chauvin. It's a joke. I'm sorry, just literally read it. Who gives a fuck? Look at the case itself. Is he innocent in this case or not? My point is that I think that he's not. I think that his behavior escalated tensions, and those escalated tensions were caused by him. I think that he had a pattern of behavior that is well documented by the police force of escalating force in cases where he should not have escalated force. This is established, right? You can look this up and decide it. And I think that him doing that was a mistake. It was a mistake. He should not have done that. And I do think that his behavior was a catalyst to what happened to George Floyd. Did he cause it to happen? Maybe indirectly. In my opinion, though, when you're a police officer, and especially if you've been reprimanded for this exact same fucking thing, this exact same thing. What are these polls? I have no idea. It's just mods fucking around. Who knows? So yeah, so did he kill him? At the end of the day, I think that if Derek Chauvin was not involved and George Floyd was just driving his car and he had never been pulled over, he probably would not have died that day. That's what my opinion is. And I think the martyrdom of this person, this, in my opinion, is the right-wing version of defending Hamas. That's my opinion. Needlessly divisive, incredibly complex, mostly verifiably fucking wrong. It's complete partisan politics, and it's of the benefit of no one. That's what I think. Or defending Luigi. Yeah. Luigi's is worse than this. I would say, I don't know, kind of it's worse. I don't know. It depends, right? But like, it's kind of the same. You can apply similar logic, but comparing the two seems insane. Only a person of low IQ would... Of course, Hamas is worse than one person, right? Obviously. But my point is that optically, this is the same thing. I think people are totally fucking out of their mind with this. He was on drugs, though. Doesn't that have an impact? Yeah. Yeah, he shouldn't have been driving while he was on drugs. And George Floyd probably should have been arrested. And I just think that the way that they arrested him and the way that they resolved the situation, I think a police officer, their responsibility, this is my opinion, their responsibility is to protect the public and to work in the best interest of the public. And the process of that, did Derek Chauvin do that? No. I think he did not. Protect and serve, yeah. He was not simply driving. He had the cops called on him that day. That's fine. The thing is, though, is that that's not what I said. I said that if he was driving and he didn't have the cops involved with him at all, he probably would not have died that day. It's an interesting take, but the police only uphold the law, no more, no less. I think that's reductive. That's not the point. Bad cops are an asset for both sides. Anytime shit goes sideways, they can be used. All I'm saying is that a person with 18 prior complaints, 2 of them that resulted in disciplinary action, should not be your fucking martyr that you're trying to get pardoned. I think it's ridiculous. It's like pardoning the people that broke the windows in January 6th. It's an outrageous, stupid position to have. It's needlessly divisive. It serves nothing other than getting our team is winning and your team is losing points, and it doesn't help or make anything better at all. That's my position.
Suggested that Derek Chauvin was guilty right off the bat, that the jurors were being openly threatened and admitted as much. Despite all of that, Derek Chauvin was convicted on federal charges and pled guilty to federal charges. Derek Chauvin should, in fact, be pardoned on that. We will be covering that a lot more in coming weeks because I think it is worthwhile to remember that there is a man who is rotting in prison because the media decided in the middle of 2020 that they were going to turn a tragic law enforcement stop that ended with the death of a man who had a significant problem with drugs and pre-existing health problems into the raison d'etre of the entire 2020 election. And it led to vast chaos.
Ben Shapiro brings up a good point here about how people took this issue and they made it this like massive race issue. I think that police brutality and I think that BLM making police brutality a race issue was counterproductive. I think every race suffers from police brutality and police bad behavior. And I don't think that, like, really anybody has a monopoly on that. Now, do black people have it happen to them? They do. And is it disproportionate in some cases? It is. But the fact is that it's everyone doing it, and basically turning it into a race issue, I think made more people not pay attention than if we had looked at police accountability in a general sense. Anyone can have it happen.
It led to, again, the destruction of racial comedy in the United States, $2 billion in property damage, and a guy rotting in prison who the evidence demonstrates certainly was not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in that case. If we're going to talk about delivering pardons, President Trump, I think, should really seriously consider pardoning on federal charges. He can't pardon on state charges. Derek Chauvin, who is convicted of the murder of George Floyd. As I say, we will be covering this pretty extensively in the coming weeks.
I could not disagree more.
Right now, you should go to pardonderek.com and sign our petition asking President Trump to grant justice to Officer Derek Chauvin. That is pardon, P-A-R-D-O-N, Derek.com, P-A-R-D-O-N-D-E-R-E-K.com.
Yep. Completely disagree. Hopefully with the evidence that I provided and, you know, and you can look all this up for yourself. This is an AI summary. And so, you know, you can say, oh, well, it's inaccurate. You can look it up yourself and figure it out yourself. I think this is needlessly divisive and it serves no purpose other than to score political points. It's completely fucking ridiculous. Let me see here. I'll read a few more. Sure hope you don't have any law enforcement in your family. What would that have to do with it? I'm confused. Like, so because I had law enforcement in my family, then I would give a biased opinion? And that's supposed to be an argument against what I'm saying? I don't really think that's how it works. Yeah, I do. They disagree with Ben on this. Yeah. Is there any evidence that he committed a hate crime? Did he commit this crime as a pattern of behavior of bad acting towards black people? That is a gray area. I think that it's very hard to prove that. I would not say that he did or he didn't. I don't think that matters. As I said, I don't think police brutality is a race issue. I just don't. And I think that compartmentalizing it as a race issue does a disservice to everyone. I lost any respect and understanding anything he says now. I have law enforcement in my family, and they do not agree with his take. Well, what about this do you not agree with? The law enforcement in your family, how many complaints have they had, and how many official disciplinary actions have they had against them for anything? How many? Wait, actually, just to say, are you talking about me or him? Yeah, because I don't want to go aggro on you. Because oh, yeah, okay, yeah. My bad, man. My bad. Sorry. And so, yeah, they're saying to disagree with Ben. Yeah, no doubt. Just because he has a history of complaints doesn't mean he's automatically guilty of this particular event. Watch the body cam footage. I have. I watched the footage. I think that he needlessly escalated the event, and I think a police officer should serve and protect the public, and I think that police officers should be people that we trust to be helpers, to be people that are on our side, and to act in the best interest of the public. I think that trust in police officers and a degree of goodwill with police officers is necessary. If police officers were, if I was in charge of the police, I would do things very differently. I think that the police, like the way that the police protect bad actors inside of the police, I think that it is, again, an unforced error that just simply makes everything worse. It should have been manslaughter. If you want to make the argument that it should have been manslaughter and not murder, I'm not going to argue with you about that. All I'm going to say is that I think he did something wrong and he should be in jail for at least 10 years. That's my opinion. Like everything else besides that, the nuances, that's up to you. That's my opinion.